Welcome back to the Eye of Jupiter Live. I am your host, Tom Franklin. And today we're live on a Friday, which will be moving in the future. We're going to move the episode drop on Friday. We're going to put the Tuesday, and we're going to put the way live to a Friday, but that won't happen the middle of February. So until that time, you guys will be getting 2 live a week and a rescheduled release that I do with a regular podcast. That one dropped today with Mark Savnik, and we talked about ones and all that. Except go ahead and check that out. That one dropped was 3:30. We were 6 o'clock. 2.5 hours ago, something like that. And yeah, it'd be cool to go check that out. Right after this, guys, Magical Journey is going to be on with Eric Friedman Sims. He just released a book. He's the owner of the Night House, and he also does paranormal investigations in this house that he bought, and that's going to be a very interesting episode. So don't go off YouTube. As soon as we're at this, start at 7 p.m. Do me a favor, go right over to Magical Journey and go to his live podcast. Fisher Spam also dropped the video today, or he will be dropping it tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go make sure I get the name of that exactly. I don't want to make sure I get that correct. It is called Stardust Ridge Part 4. Welcome to Crazy Town. So, Jim, there's your plug, buddy. You can also find me on Twitch. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. Please do me a favor and go ahead and download the Audible version of it, so that you don't always have to be here. You can listen to it on the road while you're at the vending machine, or you're on the road with cattle in your in the back of your truck and all that. That's also a possibility. You just download it and listen to your regular favorite podcast apps. I'm very happy to be here on a Friday, so that most of you people, this gentleman I have on today, he's very active in my Facebook group, always dropping great links, always starting great discussions. He has slowly become a wonderful friend, James R. Hood.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you today?
All right.
Happy New Year's to you.
Yeah, thank you for having me on again, Tom.
No, it's my pleasure. We have a lag. We have a hell of a lag today. We'll be all right. We'll make it happen.
Yeah. So what did you want to talk about first, Tom? You talked about earlier, said something to me about drones, and I told you
I wasn't sure. I was waiting for you to No, I was waiting for you to respond. I thought we were having a really bad lag. No big deal.
Well, we are having a lag from
yourself.
time to time.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do that without the internet. I can do that just walking around during the day. But do me a favor, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself. You also, I'll go ahead and do it for you. You are starting your own service. It is, you can contact James. He gave it to me right at the beginning, so I didn't have a chance to pop it up here. It's James R. If you're having issues, and if you're in northern Alabama, I think northern Alabama, is that correct, James? Or Mississippi? Excuse me, you're in Mississippi.
In Mississippi, yes.
Okay, the Mississippi area. James will probably tell us more, and the email is cryptidcreatures411@yahoo.com. That's capital C RYPTIDCREATURES 411@yahoo.com. So if you have any needs necessary, James is trying to start his own research. He's looking for partners. He's looking to go out and maybe help you guys. And I guess that's what you want to promote today. Is anything else you'd like to promote, James?
Thank you. So first of all, your title about the blessed salts and all that, I'm going to get into where I wanted to start with on that. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, another show called The Cryptid Huntress. You know her, Jessica. She had on Daryl Denton, and I believe you and Daryl both
Oh, I know Daryl.
spoke. hmm You had him on your show a while back too, and I believe he mentioned this about the blessed salts and using them to ward away whatever it was that he thought was, attacking his place at night. And I had never heard that before, and it kind of piqued my interest a little bit. So I got to doing some research, and I did not know this, but salt is used in holy water, and it goes all the way back to, the Old Testament times. The priests of the old days would use salt in some of their rituals, and they kind of believe the same thing. I can tell you here. I can't remember all this. I wrote it down. In
Okay,
2 Kings 2:20, Elisha asked for a new bowl to be filled with
let's
salt.
get into it, man.
And
Yeah,
let's see, where am I at? But salt was not the only thing. Cayenne pepper, for one thing. If you can believe that, cayenne pepper was believed
wow,
to protect.
spicy.
Mhm. Maybe the evil spirits didn't like hot peppers or something. I don't know.
That's why they're not that much in Mexico, I suppose, right?
It might be. Uh, but I found out that a lot of religious practices, not just in Christianity and Judaism, but other faiths through the world use this as well for the same thing. I got this from the Times of India, where many religious practices and cultures, salt signifies preservation and the binding of a spiritual covenant. And I thought that was kind of weird, but where Daryl Denton was talking about when he contacted the researcher Scott Carpenter, and I know he's no longer with us, but his channel is still up, and I've watched a number of his videos. Where the Bigfoot or
Rest in
the
peace.
whatever it was attacking Daryl Denton, Scott told him to sprinkle that blessed salt on the corners of his property, and he said it kept them away. They were still there, but they didn't bother him anymore. And I just thought that was
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah. He also I never remember the name of it. He also Daryl went out to the four cardinal points of his property, and he also denounced them. I think there's another word for it. In the name of
Rebuke.
Jesus, he went out and
Mhm.
rebuked. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for.
Mhm.
He rebuked them because there was a 2-week period there where they were trying to beat down his front door, and Daryl was sitting in the house, shotgun in hand, in his rocking chair,
I know.
pointed at the front door, waiting for someone to come in. And the story goes that he contacted Scott Carpenter, good friends of each other. This is before Scott passed, rest in peace once again. And he said, you need to go and rebuke them if Jesus is in your heart. And he said it worked. They even stayed off the property. They would be outside, but they would never come back on the property again. So that's very interesting as well.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. That kind of tells us something that they're not some kind of talking about the Bigfoot creatures, they're not some type of lost ape or something that we just haven't discovered yet. There's more to them than that. There's something more spiritual to them than that.
Yes.
The theory, and I think we talked about this last time. One of the theories was that part of their bloodline, part of their DNA may be from long ago, from the Nephilim days.
Nephilim, right?
Mm-hmm.
We did talk about this. Yes.
Not meaning that they are Nephilim, but maybe they're kind of mixed in somehow. That they're maybe part of what was going on back in those days when those fallen angels were creating giants, and who knows what else they made. So.
Yeah, we real quick, we have a lot of new people in here today. This is crazy. I guess Friday is interesting. We got Sasquatch Holler. We got of course we have Denise, the wonderful Pam. We got Tim from Ohio, Bigfoot researcher, Reddit Savage, Squatch and Holler. Who else is on here? We have Lanita Bryan. Hi, Lanita. I will be having Lanita Bryan on as well. We have so many new. Hi, Roger Williams, new to the channel. We have yet to meet. Just wonderful, great that everyone's here. Maybe you follow James over. Either way, welcome to the show. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it very much. I'm sorry for the lag today.
Okay, just
sorry, Joe. It's James.
That's okay. It's just that lag you were talking about. It's kind of like I was saying, like watching one of those old kung fu movies where you say something, you got to wait a few minutes for something.
Yeah. The lips are moving, but they're not synced with the
Right.
words.
Right. Oh. Yeah, I thought that was interesting that he used that salt like that. And I tried to find it, and I don't, my grandfather and his father both were preachers, Baptist preachers, Southern Baptist. And nowhere in the Baptist denomination that I know of that we used anything like that. I think that's more of a Catholic, or maybe even I don't know about Methodist, but I think that's more of a Catholic thing. But I think it's still being done today. They use the blessed salt in the holy water. That's how they make it.
I definitely, even the salt thing, it's also a movie thing. Maybe Magical, if you're still here, buddy, maybe chime in. It's also like a thing, like if you put, like if there's demons in the room with you, you can put like salt around you and make like a barrier in which they can't enter your area to bother you. And then you can do whatever you need to do, talk to Jesus or whatever you're doing to help on your behalf. It's very interesting.
I didn't know this until today when I was reading a book here, and I ran across this. It was talking about the same thing it was talking about using vinegar is the same thing. And if you left a shallow bowl of vinegar out, it would like make them go away. They didn't like it. And I never understood all of that. It's crazy. But I never knew any of this stuff until recently. And I'm actually still learning on it. And I'm not saying
there's so many things that you can get into.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many things that so many ways you can go about trying to find out what this all is. So William Blaze, in Pentecostal churches, we use olive oil. Interesting. Pentecostal churches, they use olive oil as an instruction, as instructed in the Bible. Okay, cool, man. Cool.
Yeah, that goes back a long way too. It goes back thousands of years.
And it makes sense too. Because the Bible happened in the Mediterranean area, all around that area, and then you have the olive trees, all that. That makes perfect sense.
There's another thing that's interesting. Not just salt, but precious metals have some sort of spiritual value to them. You've heard silver. So, in the movies, they use silver bullets to kill werewolves. They use silver. Well, silver is a kind of a purifying agent. You can buy colloidal silver, which is silver that's been mixed with water, and and you can drink it. It's good for your immune system. Kills all bacteria.
They were using that. They were using that during the pandemic. Some people, and it's scientifically speaking, it's bad to take. But apparently, during that, along with another thing, there's ivermectin. Also, was a time that was also a thing. But the colloidal silver, I've heard that too. I think even Rogan talked about that. That's very interesting, isn't it? Very interesting.
That's been around a long time. And it works. It kills viruses. They don't know why. Even copper kills the flu virus if it's left on a surface, and nobody knows why to this day why it kills viruses. But you didn't know this, I bet. But in the old days, silver was used in the back of a mirror, and they were used to make musket balls. Which that may be where the shooting the werewolf with the silver bullet came from. Musket balls in the 1700s, they were made. Some of them were lead and some of them were silver. There were some
I'd
people
imagine silver would be heavier. I'd imagine that silver would be a heavier round. They'd have to use more powder and everything to get that out there, or they use it at like close quarters. And dude, you are always good at picking a subject, taking it apart, and making me go, huh. like the whole time. It's fantastic, dude. Yeah.
Here's one of the things I was going to mention about the mirror and silver. It was believed at one time in the old days that demons or harmful spirits could not come through a silver-backed mirror. And today we don't use those mirrors like that. They don't use silver in them anymore. And I thought that was really interesting. If you look up
That's
the
interesting.
uses of silver through the ages, it goes back a long way.
Yeah, because people will say that mirrors, especially if you put them across from one another, creates a portal or a place in which spirits can jump from place to place. And you can also scry in mirrors. And a lot of times people look, like, you know, if you watch the horror movies, like if you watch Poltergeist, like they'll have the medicine cabinet scene, that famous thing where they always open it and there's nothing there, they open it, and then behind you, and then jumps the spirit in. That also rings true, dude. This is awesome. This is cool.
The Paranormal Roundtable YouTube channel had a whole, like a 2-hour segment on mirrors and things coming out of mirrors and walking down the hallways. And I turned it off. I couldn't listen to the whole thing because I got a big mirror in my bedroom, and I said, nope, not tonight. So
but you got to be able to brush your hair in the morning, man. We got to have mirrors somewhere. It's probably best to put it out next to your, you know, your Catholic shrine or something, so that way you're always protected. Maybe that's very interesting. Maybe we should start doing that again. Maybe we should start like getting a little bit of precious metal, maybe putting it in a foil type situation. Maybe does aluminum work? That makes me wonder if aluminum would work.
I don't know about
aluminum. You can put
aluminum
foil behind your mirror.
I don't know.
That's more of a mineral. Okay. Hey, what's up? Daniel Lee Barnett is here, guys. Hey, all the way from sunny England. How's it going, buddy?
But talking about the same thing about keeping keeping evil spirits away, keeping the cryptids, whatever it might be that's, you know, trying to harm you on a physical and a spiritual level. You mentioned earlier about, you know, rebuking things and prayer working and stuff like that. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but L.A. Marzulli has done numerous books, segments, TV shows, all kind of things about people who were supposedly, you know, had a UFO encounter and these things would come after them at night. And this would happen repeatedly throughout their lifetime. And some people who had it happen for the first time, they were afraid, and I guess any of us would be afraid in that situation, but they prayed right there, and those things just went away. And that's happened numerous times in numerous stories. They would close their eyes and pray, and they would call on Jesus, and those things, when they opened their eyes, they wouldn't be there anymore. Those things were gone. And I've heard that a lot.
It's so interesting to me because I'm not a religious man. I'm just a man of God. That's just me. I have my connection with God and I'm good with it. I'm not a religious person, but I do know this. I don't know why, but I do know that the power in the name of Jesus actually has sway over these evil, whatever they are, whatever this is. I'm sure through the context of Christianity or whatever religion you are, that these things are evil. I just kind of go, I don't know, but I know that I don't want them around me. But I do know that name holds sway, and that right there is very, very interesting to me as well. It really is. It really, really is. We also had a comment from Magical Journey. He said that rosemary is a protective herb also. That's interesting.
One of the links that I gave you has a whole list of different things that have different purposes. I wasn't going to go through the whole thing. It was too long, but one of the links that I gave you.
You sent it to me. But you sent me about 15 minutes before the show. You were like, here, Tom, here's what I'm going through tonight. I was like, and my girlfriend's talking to me. Yeah, this you're going to do a show. I'm going to be doing stand-up tonight. I got a big stand-up show tonight. She's like, oh, I need you to help me out, pick up the speaker box. I'm doing some. She sings religious. She's a Catholic and she does singing and helps families in times of need. Religious holidays when there's a death in the family, and they sing for 9 days. She goes, I need your help after the show. And then like James at the same time is sending me a list I mean, I literally had to scroll like 4 times to get through what he sent me. So, I mean, we could go through as many or as few as you want to, dude. It's you. You are the star today, dude. I'm never the star, man. You are the star of the show, dude. I want you to talk about any and everything that you want to, and I'm just here for the ride as a medium to get it out there to people. So yeah, dude. So Blessed Salts, Precious Metal, Fisher Spam, the Night Watch. He released the fourth part of Stardust Ranch. He said, I imagine Copperwood. We just mentioned that Copperwood was ward off, you said flus, I think you said, James. And I imagine if you worked in a copper mine back in the day, you were a very healthy person. So yeah, it's super interesting.
You get too much in you, it's going to be really bad.
Yeah, too much of a good thing can be a bad thing too, James.
But there's a guy whose name is Joseph Jordan, and he's talking about some of these same things about using prayer and talking about the alien abductions and all this stuff, and he's been on a number of shows. Look him up. His name is Joseph Jordan.
Okay.
Let's see. The channel that he was on last was called Ghosts 619, and I put that in the links too that I gave you. And he again kind of reiterated what Steve Quayle and L.A. Marzulli and all the other ones were saying about, just rebuking them in the name of Jesus and they go away. And for sure, he was even talking about someone had one of them following him, like something in the air that was above his house, and he just prayed and told it to go away, and it went back out and it was gone. And that was the craziest thing.
Wow. There we go. We got your email at the bottom, guys. If you wanted to even just chat with James is a very, very not. He's just we went through this the first time he was on the show, and he's so gracious to come back on, and I appreciate it. I just contacted James like, sure, of course. My first Friday episode ever, and I got you on, buddy. I was just like, me and James, we always chat, and he's trying to promote himself. He's at least knowledgeable about things. And he's into being a cryptid researcher. Have you been doing any investigations? I mean, let's get into that for a second if we're going to promote your stuff. Have you been doing any investigations lately?
I went out one time back in April, down in Choctaw County. That's a county next to us. There's been 3 incidents I know of Dogman, and I know someone else who was telling me they used to raccoon it, and they never saw anything, but they kept hearing tree knocks all the time, which is kind of like a Bigfoot thing. And he said they never saw anything, and they got close to him one night, and some of the guys got scared, and he didn't get scared. He wanted the guys to go with him and see what all the tree knocks was about, what all that noise was, and then they wouldn't go. They kind of figured that because some old man, I mean, that's what he called him, the old man in the neighborhood. I don't even know if he knew his name or not, but the elderly gentleman, he always called him Old Foots, like Bigfoot. That's what he called him, Old Foots. He said, y'all don't let Old Foots get you when you're down in there. And like I said, they never saw it, but they heard a lot of commotion going on while they were hunting, and they actually ended up getting scared and leaving one time.
Wow. That's crazy. That's great. Check this out, James. This is a new gentleman, William. I hope I say this right. William Bays. He wrote that in 1974 he went to a Wiccan New Moon celebration on the 31st of October, which is then Halloween for us. And he said that Bigfoot showed up, and the Wiccan said that Bigfoot honors the God of Christians and Jews. Interesting. That's interesting. I didn't know that. People dropping knowledge on me left or right.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I think there's like a lot of people said. I think there's good ones out there that don't do any harm to people, and there's probably some that will absolutely kill. They are man eaters. Alaska is most known for the man killer Bigfoots, where people go missing and animals go missing and all kind of things happen. But around Mississippi, Alabama, you don't hear of too many things like that going on. There was a story
Yeah.
last year of an Alabama deer hunter they found with his arms torn off, and I don't know what
Oh,
done that.
that's probably
Somebody
more dog man.
somebody said it might have been a bear, but I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
we do have black bears. I don't know that a black bear would do that to a guy. I don't know. You would think
A
he
black
would
bear? No,
be
maybe a
partially
grizzly or a Kodiak, but a black
grizzly
bear?
for sure. Hmm. They never said what done it, but that was in, I don't know what part of Alabama it was in. Um,
Yeah. What do you know about what's the name of that? There's a big forest in Alabama with a bunch of waterfalls in it. What's the name of that place
it
again?
is Bankhead
It's in
National
northern
Forest.
Bankhead. That's
Hmm.
it. I had a gentleman on. His name is Darren Franks.
Hmm.
He was hunting there. He got special permission to hunt there, and he ran across a white one up there
He
while he
told
was
me
hunting one day.
he messaged me
Yeah,
about
he's
that before he was ever on
oh,
your
okay. So,
show.
okay, so you guys
I
are in
knew about
contact.
him.
That's cool, man. Yeah, dude. So it
Um,
seems to be like plus they got the Yowie, I think it's called in Australia. That one seems to be a bit more aggressive as well and larger, supposedly. So we have more friendly kind in the southern parts of the states, but in Alaska, I heard they're bigger, which makes sense.
hmm.
If you look at white-tailed deer in Mexico, they're little bitty things. They might dress out at maybe
Hmm.
80 pounds at best. That's the big bucks. And if you go up in northern Canada, up in Alberta, up that way, they'll dress out at 150 pounds. So that makes a lot of sense to me as well. If you're looking at it through that portal, so your plan is to go out and do a little bit more of this research, maybe start like a community, or what's your plan, buddy?
Well, I hate to do it alone, and I will if I have to. I just want to kind of go out and take a look around in some of the areas where people say they're active at, and just kind of, I guess I want
Kind
to
of
try to
snoop
get
around
one
a bit.
on camera, which is so far hard to do. Um,
Yeah, there's the occasional ones that are a little blurry, but I've gotten some new. Harley Owen sent me some new pictures that blew my mind.
he
So
sent me some
he's
too.
I don't know what he's. Yeah, did you? Okay,
Mhm.
me me and you are connected, and we don't even know how well we are connected. Yeah, he's going to be coming on again soon to promote all that, and he also got that weird footprint with the toe sticking out to the side. Did you see
Mhm.
that one?
The
That's
three-toed
also pretty
footprint.
wild. No, that's Dogman. The other one. There's another one
Okay.
that's weird. It's more of
Oh,
a. I can't
I
think of
didn't
the.
see
I
that one,
tried.
or I forgot about it. But
Whoops! I might be.
um,
I might be dropping the ball here. I don't want to do that. But yeah, go ahead, please, James.
he was asking me about my investigation. The one that I went out on, like I said, was in Choctaw County. I never saw anything, and I went out to where guy said he saw it on a bridge, just looking around and messing around. It looked like a perfect place to me for something like that to happen. That's the second time that something like that's happened in that area. And my
Mm-hmm.
friend, his son is the one who saw the dog man in Choctaw County too. He saw it a few miles
Oh, is
away
that the
from
one on
where
the
this
bridge?
happened.
Is that the
Hmm.
one on the bridge that jumped over the bridge?
This
Right.
was the second. This was a second incident on a different bridge, but not too far away, about probably 15 miles difference. Um, he said this thing just looked like a. He thought it was a cow because it was still dark outside. He was going to work, and
Mm-hmm.
he said he just thought it was a cow. And then the closer he got to it, the worse it became. He said, "Man, that is one messed up cow. I don't know what's wrong." And he said it just stood up like a man. He said, "Well, that's not a cow," you know. And he said he just took off up the bank through the woods, and he didn't see it again for a couple of weeks, and he saw it again. He was
Wow.
never
There's also the.
attacked by it.
Have you heard of the knot deer, or what do they call them? The
Hmm.
weird deer that look they're like partially skeletonized and weird, and
Hmm.
that's I'm hoping that maybe one day, if you guys want to contact me, or if you know somebody who's had a story like that, please contact me at the Eye of Jupiter podcast at gmail.com. I would love to hear a story like that. I've been getting some pretty interesting ones. I had a gentleman on that's going to be a regular program. He smoked a thing called salvia. He didn't know. He thought it was something else. And he went to a parallel reality where he lived 8 years as him, looked in the mirror, had their driver's license, just ended up accepting it. And then after 8 years, a portal opened again. He fell through it in a field and ended up back in Alaska. Went from Alaska to Texas, from Texas back to Alaska. So if you guys, like I said, if you guys have stories like that, or experiences, or you've seen something, don't be afraid to contact me. I'm into all that stuff. That was just I ran across
That,
that guy on YouTube, and I was like, I'm contacting him. And he said his name, so I looked him up on
mhm.
Facebook or Instagram, and I got him right away. So yeah, so not deer. What have you heard about these? Are they called not deer? Is that correct, James?
What they're called. People say they look like a deer, and when they get close to them, they don't look like a deer. They're weird. They're kind of a mutated thing. And some people say they can stand up, and some people,
Yeah,
like on two legs, like a person, kind of like another cryptid. I think that's mostly an Appalachian thing. Uh, I've never heard of it
really.
outside of Tennessee and Kentucky. Now, I might be wrong, but I've never heard of it outside of those areas. It's
Yeah,
kind of a
because
regional thing.
you said on the last show, do you think some of these cryptids are being made like every day?
Hmm.
I heard one the other day. I think it was from Audacious Amber. She's on here once in a while. We spoke privately over Instagram, and she said I can't even remember the name of it. It's just you were saying that all the time, like these new cryptids are coming out, and it seemed to be more and more. I was listening to a bunch of episodes of the Bigfoot Chronicle, or Bigfoot. What is it called? The one with West something or other. I think it's called the Bigfoot Chronicle. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't want to get that name wrong. And it seems to be on the upsweep. I don't know if it's because of the internet or what it is, but it seems to be like more and more people are running into these things. And that's interesting that your email is 411 at the
Hmm.
same time. That seems to be an interest of yours as well.
Right. I think uh,
What
I
about the
think the
four?
closest,
What about the 411 interest you?
just how they disappear. You're talking about the 411 cases where people just up and disappear, they're never seen again, or if they are seen again, it's they find the body nowhere near where they were supposed to be, that type of thing. Um, I don't know what to think about that.
Wow.
There's several theories on it. There's portal theories, there's cryptid theories, there's getting lost. There's a lot of the people who disappear do have some sort of a mental issue. Maybe they're depressed, they're suicidal, or not always, but a lot of times. And some of them are not. Some of them are cases where you know you're walking in a group and you're talking to Bob. Bob's right here behind you, and you ask Bob a question. Well, he don't answer. You look around, Bob's gone. Bob's never seen again. That's the kind of
Right.
stuff that's weird. Kids
Right.
disappear and they were right there and they're never seen again. And that's just so weird. The dogs don't pick up the scent. I mean, they're gone. So where did they go?
I don't know the name of the case. There's a particular case. They were deer hunting somewheres, and they were doing the drive. I think it's what it's called, the drive. And there was a gentleman that never came back from the drive, and they were like, "Where's Billy, whatever his
Hmm.
name?" I don't remember the guy's name. It's a very famous case, and I'm sorry if I don't know it because a lot of things I got to remember. um, but so they would call for the person, and they would hear the dude's voice. They said he seems like he's
Hmm.
like literally like 30 yards away. They look around that area, they can't find him. The next day,
Well,
they call him again. He's like 50 yards away. And it just keeps continuing until they can't hear the guy's voice anymore. So that to me is just the strangest phenomenon that I can think of at the moment.
I know the one you're talking about. It was his wife that found his voice, and they could hear each other, but they couldn't find each other. That was so weird. I know the one you're talking about. David Polias had it on Coast to Coast AM. That was back in the summer. Um, Another interesting one he
Right.
had, there was a firefighter, and there was actually a group of firefighters, and they went, I don't know where they went. They went somewhere to go skiing, and they all saw the guy go into the building, but he never came out of the building. And it was months, I believe, 2 or 3 months later, they found the guy in California. Found him on the street. He didn't remember who he was. Didn't he finally gained his part of his memory back as far as who he was and all that type thing. He had no recollection whatsoever how he got to that street in California, still wearing his ski clothes that he walked in that building with. And that was just so weird. I mean, the guy was okay after that, other than just not remembering how he got there. He just said he passed out when he woke up. He was
Yeah.
in California, and I'm like, did somebody just drop him off or something? But that was so
Yeah,
weird. But
dude.
they
I've heard
looked
of
for the guy for like 2 months.
yeah, and then he just shows up in California. Oh, there was
Hmm.
I don't remember where I heard this. There was a story that I was listening to. I think it was on probably a different podcast. And this guy was talking about there's a road that he always drives down every day of his life. And then one day it's like a turn he makes, and there's always a house sitting there. And then one day he turns and the house is no longer there and it's never been there and no one knows anything about it.
Mm,
And
so
he's like, I
weird.
know this was there. Yeah, it's this is why I like people like yourself. You're interested in these things. That's why I enjoy doing these kind of shows, just because we are, as humans, are like we love to discover and be in the frontier of things and be in the forefront and we just love that thing. And this is
Mm,
the new frontier, guys. What's in here and what's out there and what is that connection? And you keep hearing these stories now, like you think you've heard them all, but then you don't. You know, I mean, I didn't know that copper could help you ward off a flu. That's I didn't know that. I've heard about silver.
hmm.
I know there's certain herb mixes and things like that, but
Hmm.
it's just always something around the corner that I haven't heard yet, and that's why I really enjoy doing this show. It's so fascinating, interesting, and it's just it's sometimes overwhelming, but at the same time, I get to meet people like you who you've been interested in this like your whole life, right, James?
Right. I think I told you last time I've been doing this since I was 13. Kind of got started with the whole UFO thing, and there was a lady named Ellen Crystal who wrote a book called Solid Invasion. And you were talking about the drones the other day. I can tell you this. This came to my mind when I thought of her. Back in the late 1970s, 1980s, she was going out with her friends trying to take photographs of all these different things in the sky that they were seeing. Even had some on the ground that she tried to get close to. In her book, she has numerous pictures, and as such, she had over 900 pictures of these things. I believe she was on Oprah one time, and she's no longer
Wow.
with us. She passed away several years ago, but she claimed closer to afterwards she wrote the book, she was talking about the things in the sky like the UFOs. She said those things would like pretend they were an airplane. They would look like an airplane, they would sound like an airplane, they had the flashing lights, but when she would watch them as they went further away, they would change all of a sudden. Nobody pays attention to an airplane in the sky. If you hear an airplane, you're not going to sit there and watch it
That's
for 30 minutes. And she said
that
some of them
that is
are
very
not
interesting.
what they seem to be. That's what kind of brought, you were talking about the ones in New Jersey, the drones. I don't think all of them were
Yeah.
drones. Some of them were drones. I think some of them were
No.
Chinese drones. I think some of them were our drones. And some of them were orbs.
Uh-huh.
Like people are saying, orbs don't,
Uh-huh.
drones don't go through a building, and an orb does, but a drone
Yeah,
don't.
and it'll come out of the ocean, and then we
Hmm.
we have like NORAD, and we have the air defense system that
Hmm.
we have, and no one's going to do anything.
Hmm.
It's just odd. I don't know what that was. I don't know what that was. Is it still continuing? Do you know? I haven't been following as
It
much.
is. It's still going on. Someone, I forget who it was. Someone on my Facebook friends list. I forgot who. Saw one in Alabama the other day. I don't remember who that was.
Hmm.
But it was an interesting picture of the so-called plasma drone that got caught in the tree. And it looked like it was kind of
Yes.
rectangular, but it was like you could see through it, and it was just sitting there in the tree. It couldn't get out. That was so weird. I don't know what that stuff is. I
Yeah.
think some of them are legitimate man-made drones, and some of them are, I don't know, just weird stuff going on.
Yeah. So we have to put this all in context too. Like okay, we don't know what they are, which is fine to not know. To not know, I think MK Davis said, there's nothing wrong with not knowing. Don't be afraid to be wrong. Okay, that's very important. But at the same time, the implications of the timing that it is, like during Christmas, during the changing of the guards in the states and what's ever happening, and then you have all these crazy wildfires in California. I seen a video today where there's a satellite images where 3 of them started at the same time. Now, what that means, what that implies, blue, I don't know. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, James. I don't know anything about, that's why I got blue behind me on my screen here. But at the same time, it's so many things are happening at one time. They're trying to inundate us with so much negativity that, hopefully people are tuning into shows like these and, and many others like Magical Journeys. Right after this show, he's going to be on with Eric Friedman Sims. And, we're going to be talking about other things and, life and love and things like that. But it's just interesting, the timing of it. It's always, there's a new thing happening in China. There's the bird flu in California. And it's like fear. And I don't think we're falling for it anymore. I don't think they can do it to us as much as they used to be able to. I don't think they can do it. I think we're just kind of like, yeah, whatever. We're going to go watch, we're going to watch Friends. We're going to watch some reruns of Friends or something,
I mean, years ago, it was said that, even if the UFO things were real and aliens, whatever, the government would never tell because they thought people would mass panic. Well, last year Congress all but said these things are real and they pose a threat, and there was no mass panic. All people done was looked at their phones and said, well, that's nice, and went on about their lives. They weren't surprised. They weren't surprised at all.
That's so strange, isn't it, too? 'Cause you remember, like, you were around in the 80s and early 90s like I was. And is that when it came out? If George Bush Sr. came out and was like, hey, these things are real, or whoever was, Quayle or whoever was the VP, I don't remember who his VP was, and they came out and said, oh yeah, we think these things are real, there would have been mass panic in the street. And now it's just like, yeah, next. And that is, I think, maybe it's good and maybe it's bad. I'm not quite sure how to feel about that yet.
Yeah, it's something. It seems like it's something all the time. It's like one of my Facebook friends said, you wake up every morning and you wonder what chapter of Revelation we're doing today. You gotta go in there and read and say, well, where are we at today? Let's see where we're at in this.
You put them on like one of those Wheel of Fortune wheels, and you just spin it and see which one we're on today. And hopefully you don't get the big bad one at the end with the calling and the people that go up. And I don't know the Bible that well. I'm not going to pretend to, but I do know what it is. That's a very interesting remark. Yeah, the rapture. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
And but just remember, if you're looking through a little bit of the way I see things, like we have the prefrontal cortex, which makes us who we are as humans with the rational thought, and then you have the mammalian brain, right? And then you have the reptilian brain, which is all about fight or flight, fear response. And that's where they want to put you guys. They want to put you in that fear response at all times so that you do not make rational decisions. Don't fall for that at all. Just keep your heads up, and we're going to make it through this, dude. It's going to be this next 2 months. I guess it's pretty fortuitous as well. I'm going to be having lives. I get to speak to gentlemen and ladies and gentlemen like yourself. We can kind of talk about things like this. I think I would like to do that with you once in a while. Just have you come on a Friday whenever you can, of course, sir, and just kind of talk about what's going on and just get your perspective on it, because I truly enjoy it, man.
Yeah, we can do that. I'd like to do that. I wanted to mention something else too. That you had a storm. What was it? A week ago? Was it last Friday? With the guy's name? I didn't write it down. Tim Gayhart, I believe it was.
Tim Gayhart, yes, of the Ohio. He's here with us. Ohio Big Research Future. Hi, Tim. Yes, he's right here. He's here with us.
I really enjoyed that show and kind of doing what he was doing and what some of these other guys were doing in the field, going out and looking for these things, trying to get a picture. That's kind of what I was, trying to go for too, with not alone per se, but with a group. I mean, I would
Yeah, well,
do it
then
alone.
take
I
yourself a
have done it alone,
vacation.
but hmm
Connect with Tim. We love Tim. Yes, we love you, Tim. I mean, what are you, 2 states away? Take a vacation, buddy. Contact Tim. I'm sure Tim can show, give you an extra room or knows a cheap hotel or a friend or somebody out there. Go out with him, take him and his wonderful wife, and go out to Salt Fork and see what you run into. Because I think I didn't even know about Salt Fork. I always heard about the LBL because the LBL is
hmm
infamous. Bluff Creek is infamous. I didn't know anything about. Hey, you're welcome, Timmy. We love you, buddy. Yeah, I don't know if that. I don't mean Timmy. You might not like that, Tim. Because some people get a little. You can call me Tommy, Tom Thomas. It don't bother me at all. But yeah, just contact him. He seems to be a cool cat. Just go up there and get your feet wet, dude. I would love to hear or contact Harley. And that might be a different. Harley's a
hmm
little. He's a little
He's,
up there, but
he's
he's
a
only a state away from you. He's
he's
out
a
there in
lot
Eastern
closer.
Tennessee, a lot closer, dude. Or even Daryl. Even Daryl.
hmm
But going into the LBL, dude, make sure you bring your salts. It's called a callback. Make sure
Yeah,
your
salt
cayenne
and
pepper.
maybe I don't know what else.
So if you're bringing
That,
salt and cayenne pepper, that's a good gumbo. If I remember correctly.
makes for good crock pot seasoning.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Oh,
you talking about the LBL? I almost went up there back in 2016, and I don't remember if it was you or someone else I was telling about. And that place they call the Devil's Backbone, where Martin Groves camped. I had
yeah.
actually looked at that place. I never did go. I looked at that place, and I got sick that year, and I didn't feel like going, and I just postponed. Never did get to go. And a couple of years ago, when I heard about Martin and Groves and his encounter, I said, "Boy, I'm glad I didn't go up there by myself and camp out. That would have been really bad. We might not be here talking about this if I'd have done that then."
Look, James. Tim is writing you in the message board. Yeah, come to Ohio when it warms up in the spring, and I'll show you around. Boom. There it is, buddy.
Thank you. I
There it
appreciate
is. Go
that.
ahead and just write him.
I've,
Tim's a sweetheart. Tim's a sweetheart. His wife's
I've
wonderful. I'm gonna have
been
his wife on too. She's had some interesting stories as well. So that's
I've been
that's
to
awesome, man.
Ohio
Just connecting.
quite a few times. I used to go to a
There you
show
go.
up there for work in Dayton.
Yeah.
I've
So
been to
we're
Dayton
almost
several.
at the end here, man. We're gonna. I know it's a short one. I might have to back this up to 5:30 so that I make sure I give enough time for a magical show to come on because we're trying to put them together so I can send some traffic his way so people get to find his wonderful show as well. Is there any parting things you want to say? We're about to run into the inauguration is coming up. I think it's not this Monday coming up, but the next one. Or is there any positive message you want to put out there, or anything to help people be interested in what we're interested in, man? That like to people to find the fascination in what we do. Is there anything you want to say before any parting words you want to partake or how would you say that? Say is a better word. I can't think of it right now. Before you leave up out here, my friend.
Oh, I'm not sure what to say.
Fair enough. Either did I. You heard me rambling.
I can tell you this. Would you mind if I plugged a fellow researcher's book?
Absolutely not. Please go for it, my
I have
friend.
it right here actually.
No problem
By the
whatsoever.
same guy. I don't know if you can see this or not. I posted this.
Oh yeah, Mr. Moorhead. I've had Ron Moorhead on. This
Ron
is
Moorhead.
one of the
And
renowned
so,
researchers.
mm-hmm.
Yes, that's the famous book. That's the real famous book, and the other one is the new one. The one you just showed was a new one. This is the famous book, Quantum. What's it called? Quantum Bigfoot. Is that correct?
Quantum Bigfoot. These are two of the best ones that I've read in a long time. I didn't even know these were around, and I just was looking around one day and found them.
Yeah.
But
Hey.
the Quantum Bigfoot talks about the portals and all the weird stuff.
Yeah, I had him on, and we promoted his book. It came out It came out like almost a year ago. His new book, but the quantum one is the famous one. If you guys don't know who he is, of course, many people on here, but people who go to watch this on YouTube or wherever else you find this or listen to it, he is the recorder of the Sierra sounds, and he sent it to a university. Right. And they said that the vocal range is impossible for humans to create. And this is the book that James is promoting. And James ain't getting no kickback from this. James is saying it because it's an incredible read from an incredible researcher. Yeah, my two favorites, Ron Moorhead and M.K. Davis. M.K. Davis is awesome. So, James, I'm going to make sure I save some time for my buddy Magical. Okay. And thank you so very much for coming on the show, my friend.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me on again.
Well, I'll have you all back on, say, maybe March, something like that.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, man. You have yourself Happy New Year's to you once again, and I hope you had a Merry Christmas, and the iJupiter really appreciates that you came on the show today.
Okay, thank you. And you do the same. You have a good Happy New Year.
All right, buddy. Let's see you around, man. So that was the incredible, the amazing, the wonderful, the sweet, the heartwarming James R. Hood. Any chance you get it, if you guys want to go ahead and listen to the episode we had before, we got into his beginnings. He had an experience in the woods behind his house. Really cool guy. He's very prolific in my Facebook page. You guys can go over there too, become a member of the Facebook page. Doesn't cost you a thing. You guys want to find some interesting articles. People are always dropping interesting articles or discussions or pictures. What do you think about this? Is it AI? Is it real? We do all of that. So let me make sure I promote right after this. Do not leave. Within 8 minutes, you're going to be watching Magical Journey. He's going to be interviewing the wonderful Eric Friedman Sims, and also my buddy Jim, the Fisher of Spans and Night Watch. He just released a video, or will be released tomorrow. I'm not quite sure. I think he released it today. It is called Stardust Wrench Part 4. And go over and check that out as well. I just released an episode today with Mark Savnik. He was a super soldier as well as an alien contactee. And that was a cool episode. I had a lot of fun with him. He will be coming on live as well. I got some t-shirts. You can go over. I got to change the link. But if you go to Printify, I haven't gotten to that yet. I've been super busy. Sorry, Pamela. She's going to put a foot in my butt because I didn't do it yet. Let's see. What else we got? You can follow me pretty much anywhere. You can go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. Please do me a favor, follow me on Rumble as too. I don't have many followers on Rumble. You can also find me on any place you get podcasts. I still have to do Apple just yet, but I'm on Spotify as well as all the other ones except for Apple. And I'll get there eventually too. Just been, like I said, super busy. And remember, go over and check out Magical Journeys channel. Coming up right after this. We are the Eye, and we are aware. Love you all.